It was always fun to make music. I never really thought from the start I'm going to go be a professional musician. It's just that I started playing in all kinds of bands, and then before I knew it I was playing every night, and so it just seemed obvious. Well, of course I'm a musician, that's what I do. And I never thought, well, is this a smart way to make a living, or wouldn't it be better to be a doctor or a lawyer or a mailman or something? I don't know. I never consciously decided this was going to be my career. It just sort of happened right from the start that I always played music, and because I played in different bands, I started playing jobs or making money playing music. And once I really got a steady job with a trio playing piano, bass, and drums in a little supper club, I told my parents, okay, I've got enough money now, I'm moving out. So then I was 18 then, and yeah, I never looked back. I lived in New York for quite a while, from 1980 until 1994. And when I was in New York, I was working as a freelance musician, so I was traveling around all the time. And I was on tour with Louis Bellson. We played all throughout Europe, and we played, I believe, in Maastricht. And I met a producer from the Westdeutsche Rundfunk, from the WDR Cologne. That was, I think, 1992. And I came to Cologne and I thought, well, this is a great city and it's a radio station. They have a working big band here. And then I found out that the job was available. So being a typical pushy New Yorker American, I said, I'll take the job. And they said, well, we have a long audition process. You have to audition, you have to apply, and we'll get back to you. But then when they actually offered me the job, I had to think, well, do I really want to leave New York and move to Germany? I mean, Cologne's a very nice city and it's a nice band. The thing that really made a difference to me was that I was traveling all the time and we had a little baby boy, and I wanted more time to spend at home with my family. So I moved from Astoria, New York, which is part of Queens, to Lomar, outside of Cologne. So that was quite a culture shock for me. The other thing that everybody told us in New York was that everybody in Germany speaks English, which many people do, but where we moved in Lomar, nobody spoke English, nobody at the grocery store spoke English. So we were in this culture shock where we realized, oh no, we can't communicate, we have to learn the language fast. I moved to a town that was named Rosrath, with an R, O umlaut, S, R-A-T-H. And the first few weeks I was here, I would have to take the bus to the train station, and I would get on the bus and ask the bus driver, fahren Sie nach Rosrath? And I couldn't say the R and I couldn't say the and he would look at me, Rosrath? And he would, I can't even say it correctly after 20 years, but he would pronounce it correctly, and sort of indignant that I could mispronounce the name of the town where I was going. One scene I had at the WDR, they have a nice canteen here just outside our studio where we rehearse, and many days I would get a bowl of soup. And in order to eat the soup, I needed a Löffel. But I couldn't pronounce the word Löffel. And I would say, könnte ich bitte ein Löffel bekommen? And the soup lady would say, was? Ein Löffel? Ich brauche ein Löffel. And she would not give me the Löffel until I pronounced the word correctly. And I still struggle with it, but every time I go in the kiosk, I think about spoons, Löffel.
And you don't take the spoon?
I bring my own spoon. It's so organized here, and if you have the right paperwork and the right formula, if you do everything the right way, then all kinds of doors open up, and the system is fantastic, and the infrastructure is very good, and things work on time, and they work very well. But the thing I quickly realized, if you don't have the correct paperwork, or if you don't fill out the form correctly, then you're in big trouble, and nobody will help you. It's a very correct society, which I've come to value. I really like that about the German society, that it's very precise and fair, and they don't leave people behind as long as they fill out the forms correctly. I still feel very American. In a way, I feel at home everywhere, but I also feel like a foreigner everywhere. When I go back to Kentucky, I feel like, yeah, this is where I came from. I can drive around to where I used to live and look at my old house and my old apartment, but I still feel like a foreigner in my hometown. And then in New York, well, everybody's a foreigner, except for maybe the New Yorkers who've lived there for 70 years. I get to work with one of the greatest big bands in the world, but I also have a career on the outside where I can play my own music and my own compositions. Here, it's more artist-friendly, I'd say. In the WDR big band, I love working there because there's so many, one reason is there's so many different nationalities. It's really an international band. There are two people from Sweden, there's a Japanese person who grew up in the Rhineland. Of course, there's several, about half the band is German. There are a couple of Austrian people, there's 3 Dutch people. We just got a new Australian colleague on trombone, and a couple of Americans. It's also interesting to see how different people work, which I can imagine comes from their cultural heritage. Some people are looser and other people are more precise, and it's an interesting mix in the band, and I think it helps the music ultimately to have all these different types of people creating one sound or working together towards one goal. People ask this a lot, will you go back to the States if you retire, if and when you retire? And I don't know. I feel like most musicians never retire, so we just keep playing, so I would probably gravitate to where I can play the most, I would think. If I can play music, then I feel at home.